Dragged along by a chain, this bear endured years of agony until her suffering finally ended. Without doubt, performing bears should be a thing of the past. Unfortunately, though, there are still remnants of this cruel and barbaric practice evident in some parts of the world. One poor tortured animal, for instance, was paraded around for tourists to take photos with. What's more, Jana the brown bear's name was bitterly ironic. In Albania, where she lived a life of pain and suffering, her moniker means life, the very thing she was denied. For years, moreover, Jana was a selfie bear, and her existence was nothing but exploitation. As part of her daily routine, meanwhile, Jana was forced to walk the tourist spots of her country. Naturally, a bear being led around a town, city, or beach drew attention, and people would stop to look at her. However, this was exactly what her keeper wanted. Selfie bears are led around on the beach promenade in order to make profit with them. The animal rescue company Four Paws International has explained, according to the dodo. Many tourists want a selfie with a bear and pay money for it. But that wasn't the worst part of Jana's treatment, though. That was because Jana's taskmaster also dragged her along with him by a cruel form of leash. Her nose was pierced with a ring ending in a length of chain, his means of controlling her where he wanted her to go, and her downtime wasn't much better either. Jana lives in a shed next to the house of the owner, Four Paws wrote on Facebook. She's chained to the ground and her claws are shortened. It's unbelievable how small her range of movement is. Indeed, her hovel was nothing but cold concrete walls and floors. Tragically, moreover, the suffering Jana was put through wasn't an isolated incident. There are approximately 50 bears kept in cruel conditions across Albania, suffering in terrible, inappropriate conditions, a Four Paws crowdfunding page explained. They're kept in tiny cages or shackled in chains as tourist attractions, or paraded on beaches and tourist hotspots, acting as photo props. These animals are occasionally named beer bears because they're fed primarily on beer and bread. Four Paws International, however, calls them the saddest bears in Europe, and it's easy to see why. Fortunately, though, the organization is working with the Albanian government to get these tortured creatures free. 15-year-old Jana was probably exploited for most of her life. Indeed, her body showed years of abuse. Unfortunately, you can see the years of bad keeping, Four Paws wrote on its Facebook page. Jana is almost toothless and has an eye condition. But despite active laws against cruelty to animals in Albania, some private and business owners still cling to their living property as a source of income. Regardless, the country's government has been cracking down on brown bear abuse. Despite protection by law, though, the animal trade continues, as does the suffering. Nearly all of these bears began their lives in the wild and have been taken illegally to live their lives in chains, Four Paws explained on its Save the Saddest Bears petition. Although bear species are protected by both Albanian and international law, the trade of bears and cubs in Albania has been flourishing for many years, the organization continued. Four Paws has duly asked the government to take these laws more seriously, and thankfully, it appears they're listening. In cooperation with the Albanian Ministry of Environment, Four Paws now aims to tackle this problem and fight for stricter law enforcement and a legal ban on all cruel forms of bear keeping, the charity wrote. Indeed, it's due to this collaboration that Four Paws was able to help Jana. On November 16, 2016, moreover, Four Paws released an exciting social media update for animal lovers following Jana's harrowing story. Today, her suffering will hopefully come to an end. A Four Paws team is currently on their way to Jana. Keep your fingers crossed, it said. With friends in high places, Four Paws was able to secure permission to liberate Jana from her chains. When the rescue team arrived then, they used a blowpipe to anesthetize the bear in her shed, and as a result, they were finally able to bring her to freedom. Four Paws also kept those tracking Jana's rescue updated as to their progress. Jana is now in safety, the organization wrote on social media. Together with the Albanian Ministry of Environment and the authorities, we were able to confiscate, chip, vaccinate, and treat her medically. And while the charity was naturally appalled by Jana's years of abuse, the bear was now definitely in safe hands. The most important thing is that she's been freed from the shed and we can take care of her now, Four Paws stated. What's more, the Albanian government's collaboration has worked to the animal rescue group's advantage. To cut transportation costs of relocating rescued bears out of the country, for example, Four Paws is helping officials build their own bear shelter. This facility should hopefully start being constructed in 2017. The project for this center has finished on paper, and now we're in the fundraising phase. Albania's Ministry of Environment left her Coca said in September 2016 press release for 4 paws. This center would resolve the issue and create the proper conditions to stop cruelty against these animals. Now then, the future looks a little brighter for Albania's brown bears. As for Jana, she's joined several of her previously liberated bear friends in 4 paws 40-acre Pristina sanctuary in Kosovo. Thankfully then, she'll live the rest of her life as close to the way nature intended as possible. Please don't forget to share this video with your friends below.